Right, hello and welcome to Battlefield. So, starting off, and it's a bit of a mixed bag so far with the beta here. So, there's one map, and it's mostly this is just going to be, for the most part, me kind of just ranting for most of the next hour about my thoughts and feelings of it so far. Background, I have played it since the original 2142 was when I got into Battlefield, which feels quite a while back now. It was quite fun. I really liked the commander mode. It was absolutely excellent. Then the next one I got was Bad Company, and that's when they added destruction. So Battlefield, except for that first one, has always had destruction for me. And it's kind of one of the big hallmark things of the game. Another one's been the Combined Arms gameplay. And just kind of, I've been playing it since I've loved almost every single one. In fact, I would say, yeah, basically every single one. To a certain, to one extent, to some extent or another, I've probably loved every single one. Even though with 5 and Battlefield 1 not being as good as they're kind of slated to be, I've still enjoyed myself with them. Been really looking forward to this one. With Battlefield, with all the kind of hype around it, the announcements, but I will note that they've kind of gone a bit radio silent the past few months and slowly leaking little snippets of information out. But given that the game's close to being finished and we don't even know what one of the major game modes is yet, kind of had alarm bells ringing me for the past few weeks. So when they've stopped interrupting me, right? So this so far has been a very mixed bag. I'll spawn in a sec, but already you can see a bug. Like, notice this says headquarters. This is objective A. It also says headquarters. Notice how the objective up this way and the one to the other side also say headquarters. Yeah, it's buggy. It's very buggy. To say that it's buggy is an understatement. The problem is you think, oh, but you can still capture them, they still provide points. Yes, but look at the bottom left now on the map. Those objectives no longer show on the minimap or anything as to their capture status because it's not registering them as a proper objective. So it's a very mixed bag, and I'll warn you, starting off immediately, if you have photosensitive epilepsy, don't watch the rest or just listen to this, I guess. There are a number of visual bugs that cause massive screen flickers. And genuinely, I really mean it, it's like strobe lighting. It's pretty bad. I've kind of just jotted a few little headings on a little notepad here. I'm just going to try and get through everything I can in roughly the next hour or so. We're right at the end of the beta now. I've been playing it most of the past few days. It's just kind of my experience with it so far. So the first thing that I want to just touch on is the amount of destruction in the game. You'll notice that you look around here, like how much of this is destroyed. Okay, we've got a couple of craters, nice. We're still near the beginning of the game, so a lot more can happen, but while I've just got a rocket launcher, like certain things you can blow up, but I think with enough damage, those will detonate. They don't explode, by the way. They're not like fuel containers as far as I can tell. I think it's some kind of coolant or something for the rocket. They don't go up in a giant fireball as much as you'd want them to. But other things like that building is not destructible in the slightest. Even the shipping containers. Those are indestructible shipping containers. They're made of sheet metal. You could pop one of those with a rifle. you know? It's sheet metal, you know? Relatively thick sheet metal, but it's just sheet metal. You know, it's... You'll notice as well the time to kill is rather low. I'll just self-heal myself here. I will be honest, I'm finding it... When people shoot me, it's almost like they kill me instantaneously. But when I'm shooting other people, and I'm kind of gonna blame it just on me not being fully used to the guns yet. You can see some of the visual bugs there, some weird texture tearing across the screen. But it seems to take me ages. My gun seems to recoil a lot, and just yeah. I tend to not be able to kill enemies quickly enough for my liking, but then they shoot me and I die in about 3 bullets, you know. So I'm having issues around the gunplay, but just to touch back on the first thing I was mentioning there, the destruction. So you can see the map here. We've got down at this bottom objective here. We've got. Straight up, there's very little that can be destroyed. You can put some craters in the ground, at least there is terrain deformation for craters. Over to the right side there, where F is, if you can see, it's just the objective to the right of this, it's that sector. And the one to the left, near where our base is, our actual base here, the one between these two, I can't hover over it, and it's labelled incorrectly, so I can't exactly reference it either. It's glitched out, it says it's an enemy headquarters. That one, most of that base is fully destructible. Most of F over on the right there is fully destructible. D1 and D2 in the top middle are mostly fully destructible. Mostly. None of the other bases have any destructible features whatsoever, with the exception of the rocket. You can destroy the rocket. It's a big spectacular explosion, but it's the same every time. It's like the Levolution events in Battlefield. It takes me back to the beta of Battlefield 4. I remember trying it, and it was Siege of Shanghai. Again, that's the texture flickering. Just warning you if you have epilepsy or something. Siege of Shanghai, when it first released in the beta, it had a giant tower in the middle of the map, and it was this huge city, and it was really impressive. But of course, none of it was destructible apart from this one tower in the middle. The entire map was basically indestructible. Nothing could be blown up, right? Even most of the walls on the buildings were absolutely untouchable, right? But this central skyscraper could be brought down. So instead of having all these cool little buildings and dynamic destruction and removing cover from your opponents and being all strategic where you use explosives and all this cool stuff, you just had this one building in the middle that would just blow up in the same way every game, and it was incredibly dull after about the 3rd time you'd played. And we're seeing a kind of return to that sort of mentality here. And it's not something I like. As much as the rocket is fun to watch explode, it quickly becomes a bit, you know, it's like, okay, but I'd much rather be able to put holes in that building over there. I'd much rather be able to do that sort of thing.
We've taken heavy casualties. We're at half strength.
Don't know how he's hitting me and I'm not hitting him. Oh well, mind you, I'm stationary, he's moving. And I'm not using a gun that's really designed for that. And now he's going to probably go straight after me. Yeah, he's going to be going after me now. There's something new here. You can do a tactical sprint like on Call of Duty and other games. It's unlimited. The sort of balancing factor to it, I suppose, if you want to call it that, is that your gun isn't ready. You do need this though, given how most of the map is just open ground. So while we're on the subject of destruction, just moving on, this map, and as you can see, there's a few destroyed walls there. That's all there is really, destruction-wise. It's a bit, again, this entire map is very open. It's very boring. It's just forest for the most part. There's this one cool feature, being this giant rocket, and then there's nothing else. It's starting to rain. We might be lucky here and see a tornado. That's another thing. That's actually one of the best things they've added, I'll admit. The tornado is absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what I would have wanted from a Battlefield game when I'm thinking like awesome destruction and cool stuff like that, and these awesome set piece moments and only in Battlefield moments, all that sort of thing. A giant tornado that dynamically tears through the map and rips up whole chunks of it is exactly what I would have imagined. That sounds brilliant. It reminds me of like the blimp in Battlefield 1 where it comes in and they're flying it around, but when it blows up it leaves this giant scar on the land. And it rarely shows up. I'll be honest, I've been on this for 4 days. I've seen it twice on the first day and never since. I've been playing it with my brother most of that time, and I've been saying, oh, you've got to see the tornado, you've got to see that, oh, it's amazing, it's amazing. It never showed up. It rarely shows up. It's really rare, and it's really frustrating, because it just doesn't show up. It rarely shows up. It's this huge thing, and my god, you rarely see it. But yeah, it's... To the game's credit, while the map is massive and boring, and at least you don't have to traverse it, taking ages to do so. Oh god, yeah, there we go. I can't even get my gun on them before I'm dead. And they're just going to keep poking in and out. Oh, okay. We're up, we're away. But this is another thing, that when I say that there's fuller destruction in previous ones, like an issue for example, if that were Battlefield 5 and he's running along a rooftop, I would be able to just shoot that corner of the building and the corner of the building would come down and he would die, right? You'd just, a plane would pass by and drop a bomb on there. Just rip apart the entire rooftop and he'd go bye-bye. That building... The walls are destructible, the building is not. That's to say that you can rip apart all of these walls, that roof doesn't come down. So the destruction is a massive step backwards. Another thing is, again, at the moment it's completely riddled with bugs. Like that. And, there's little things like that that take out of a moment, but I can demonstrate another bug now. Right now... Oh, guy that... Oh no, he's ours. Well, that's another thing, we'll get onto that later on, about player visibility and the class system, but... that looks awesome, that flying by, people parachuting out, flares going off, all this battle taking place. That looks awesome, that looks like Battlefield, but... Again, it's just riddled with glitches and bugs and weird design choices. And one of the bugs, as I was mentioning, so we've seen that one there. You see what I mean with the gunplay? Like, I feel like I can't really do much against that guy, and he's just going to hide behind there now. So, for example, I've got a hybrid sight. I'm pushing the right stick in while I'm aiming, and it's not swapping to the holographic. By the way, it doesn't tell you anywhere where the button is to do that, you just have to guess. I guessed it would be like COD, and it just turns out it is. But if I swap this sight out for an iron sight, and then I swap back to it, you'll notice now I can swap to the red dot. And he's got me, yeah. I can't see a damn thing in the foliage around here. It's awful. Just really bad map design. There's just nothing but foliage and trees, and it's hard as hell to shoot anyone or hit anything while you're running around there. It's a complete crapshoot, and you just die to campers constantly in the forests, snipers in particular. And really, the map happens around the objectives and nowhere else. And the forest is just there to. I guess they wanted to make the map be like, oh, it's the biggest map ever, and whatever, so they can say it for marketing reasons. But this is huge and empty and barren and boring. The biggest issue as well, they've increased the player count to double, and you can see the game chugging and full of graphical hitches and issues, and the map's massive. What's the point in having this huge player count if then the map's twice as large, so you never see anyone? Like, you don't see anyone. I don't have these awesome moments where there's, hundreds of people running across the fields while everything's exploding and so on, because we're so sparsely spread out. Right, I'm going to go to this objective. It looks like a massive enemy push. We might be able to see some really good action here. I'm going to open that up. If I come up here, I'm going to try to take cover in there. That's like a little levolution thing as well that they've done. The sprinkler systems are like super coolant or something, I don't know. But if you're standing here, your character actually starts getting loads of like frost effects on the screen. Looks like we've been shot from behind somehow. But yeah, they've added all of these players, and yet you barely see any of these huge moments where there's a giant push of like 30 of you running up towards an objective. And when you do like that, the firefight's almost done already, because they've just curve stomped the few forces we had there. It looks like it's a massive push with a tank. I'm going to get back in there. See if we can get some action. Yeah, and we've got a guy up there. But yeah, and on this, on the topic of like not much being in the map, look at the vehicle limits there. We've got 2 armoured vehicles. You can either have, currently in the beta, there's a tank or there's an anti-air vehicle. Aircraft, there's jets and helicopters, which, by the way, you cannot customise the controls at the moment. So none of them are customisable, which makes it almost unusable. Oh no, someone grabbed it at the same time apparently. Yeah, there they are. And then there's another one there that's been abandoned and is hurtling toward the ground and gonna crash. Great, wonderful. But yeah, it's to say that there's 128 players on one of the largest maps I've ever seen, right? They do not allow you to have many vehicles. I've had more vehicles on previous versions of Battlefield where there were only maybe 24 players total. Back on like Bad Company 2, there were more vehicles than this on certain maps. And it's a big disappointment, in all honesty. I imagine this will be different at launch, but at the moment, only that many vehicles, and they glitch out constantly. Look, it says I could, for a moment, it says I can grab these. There's no armoured vehicles out, but they're greyed out. No one can select them. No one can currently spawn in a tank, even though we have 2 tanks available. No one can spawn in a jet or a helicopter, yet
We must
none are taken. They're all available. But I think that menu's glitched out because I can clearly see there on the map there's a jet. There's 2 jets on our side. I can see the tank at D2 and I can see another one above F.
to secure more sectors before the whole
So this menu doesn't work. I'm just putting that out there. This menu does not work at all. Yet, literally every single aspect of the game is currently bugged or broken in some way. Like that's where the beta is. I know it's like behind, and the developers have got time before release, and you know this were a few months ago, and they keep assuring us all that don't worry, it'll be fixed on launch. It'll be fixed on launch. Battlefield 5 wasn't fixed on launch. Battlefield 1 wasn't fixed on launch. Battlefield 4 wasn't fixed on launch. Right? I am not in a trusting mood with these people at this point. Just on top of that as well, so again, we've barely got any vehicles in this massive barren map with way too many players spread across far too large of an area to really make it feel like you're in a proper battle. I think that was not his gun necessarily that was doing all the damage. I think those rockets from the attack helicopter probably put the nail in the coffin on that one.
abandon all sectors. Let American forces have what's left.
And that's the point. You might not have been able to tell, we were apparently playing as the Russians there. Each character, I guess you'd call them, or specialist as they're calling them, has a unique ability. And all apart from the medic are useless. Every single character is genuinely, their ability is utterly awful. The character design is terrible. The voice acting is utterly just abysmal. It doesn't suit the character at all. And it just, I don't like them. They've been they're clearly trying to, they're trying to have unique named characters which have their own special abilities and look. They're trying to rip off Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, and Rainbow Six Siege works because they give them all like a unique look, but they also put in like some kind of wacky cosmetics, and they kind of lean into the silliness a little bit, but also it's kind of, I know it works a bit better on that, and there's more you can do because it's this sort of breach and clear thing. But Overwatch is the one that really does this well, and it works because it's this kind of sci-fi thing. We'll see if we can get a vehicle here. We have, right. But Overwatch works because it's this sci-fi setting where they can make the characters up. And they make them up. They do all sorts, those characters. Are they wanting in? Is that why they're shooting me, or no? Okay, right. They're not chasing after me, so they're not wanting in. Looks like I've almost got a full tank. I'll try not to screw it up.
US forces have captured Foxtrot sector. We need to secure more sectors before the whole map falls.
So yeah, they're trying to, but Overwatch can do it because all the characters are so unique and colourful and characterful, and they're basically designed like superheroes. And they've got these crazy abilities and really unique aesthetics. And one thing Blizzard has always been good at, maybe not so much nowadays, especially with all the controversy surrounding them, but you've got to admit, when they were in their heydays and at the height of their ability, and Overwatch came out, and they were before all this massive slow downfall that's just escalated lately. Also, this is the thing, sometimes the tank just doesn't. They can make some really cool characters. And again, because they're kind of superheroes, they could have really unique abilities. Okay, looks like the helicopter's decided that it's our time to die now, so there's not a lot we can do about that. Ah, shit. Oh, he's bailed. So that he could get out and shoot me with a rocket launcher. But yeah, it works with things like Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege. It really works because the gameplay and the character design really lends itself to those characters. Whereas I don't think anyone really cares about McKay or Boris or Casper here, or God help you with Falk. Who cares? It's generic military-looking dude. No one cares. I don't care who this person is or the backstory or if you give him any kind of cutscene or anything. There's not even going to be. It's not even going to be like Call of Duty because they've been trying to do like characters and stuff. It was really bad with Modern Warfare. A lot of the characters are just boring and generic looking. They've since started doing these really wacky, crazy character designs and unique skins, but you have to buy them all, of course, or get them in the Battle Pass. And yeah, so it's clearly a money thing with Call of Duty, but they've put wackier skins out there and it's worked. It actually kind of works. It's not that bad. But, you know, it's not great. Overwatch were the ones that kind of set the trend off with this, and they have the best characters, unsurprisingly, but it's because the entire game is designed around these characters. This is another fun thing as well. It doesn't remember your attachments between games, so at some point I'm gonna have to go in and change my attachments now at the start. Another little bug as well here that's quite nice. Nice little bug. Another one. You'll notice, not so much now. We need to wait until, yeah, there we go. There's someone. Is he friendly or an enemy? Have a guess. Is he friend or foe? What about the person shooting at him? Do we know? I don't know. And I can't tell. There's no way of knowing. You don't know if there's actually someone nearby you who could revive you, because in the revive screen, it doesn't show people's nameplates or anything that would discern them to tell you whether they're a friend or foe or on their way to revive you. So you have no idea whether you need to hold on or just bleed out because you're not getting revived. But yeah, no one cares about these characters. I don't care. And all they do is they have a passive ability. And like, for example, McKay here he moves faster when aiming on zip lines. A very specific thing that he does. And he has a grappling hook. The grappling hook is useless. You're probably thinking, but surely it allows you to get into places you shouldn't be able to and flank people and move around faster. No, it does not. It has a short range. It's basically used to get onto rooftops quickly and avoid the ladder. That's basically all you can do with it. And his passive ability makes no difference whatsoever, I think, really, to how you'd play this guy. He's useless. Useless ability. Especially on this map when there's not many buildings to climb onto. Useless. Then you go, well, what about Boris here? Oh, but he's got a sentry turret. That's probably awesome. You've got an extra gun firing at people. Right, firstly, you can't place it on vehicles. I know you were asking. You're probably thinking that immediately. No, I can't place a sentry gun on top of my tank so that I've got an extra turret on the tank. No. So you're not allowed to have fun. It only shoots in a limited arc in front of the turret, and His ability is basically his gun is not, his sentry gun is not absolute arse if he's nearby it. It's only moderate arse if he's nearby it, because it doesn't seem to really engage people, and people just flank it and it dies in a couple of hits. It's useless. It's absolute garbage. He's garbage. He's useless. It's just useless. Then we've got Casper. He can sense people nearby. He's got a scout drone. Spotting isn't a thing in this. Spotting hasn't been a thing, I think since Battlefield 1 or something now. It's been a while since spotting was a thing. So 3D spotting isn't making a return. He also can sense when he's nearby to enemies, which is moderately useful-ish, I guess. Oh, we are about to die from the looks of things. No, we're fine. Okay. That's something as well. The tanks regenerate health now. So, yeah. It's going to be an issue, I think, with these characters. Like, genuinely none of them are very good. Well, then you have Falk, the old granny lady, which, by the way, they're trying to make these cool, unique characters. Who decided on one of them being a granny? And she barks orders at you like a drill sergeant. Like, she sounds like a German drill sergeant or something. She's really aggressive with her voice lines. And she looks like a grandma. It's really, really awkward. Like, the voice does not in any way suit the character whatsoever.
They've taken Alpha Sector.
American forces will take every sector if they aren't stopped.
We might get to see as well another bug here, because there's a lot of them. I think they're in that general direction shooting at us. I can't see because the other turret's in the way. I'm surprised we've not seen the bug yet, because when you're in a tank, the tank is fine for the driver, but oftentimes when you're as the turrets, the screen will start to jitter uncontrollably whenever the tank turns. So the tank will turn and the turret will just be like going side to side really fast. Yeah, kind of a bit like that. You can see it a little bit as the tank turns. This isn't too bad at the moment, but sometimes it glitches out and it's absolutely unbearable for whatever reason. Oh god, he's rolled it. Why has he rolled it? There's the jitter. There it is. You can see it. Yeah. That's the jitter. It's not that bad normally, like here. This is fine. I think it's to do with, it's meant to jitter when you get hit by an explosion. It's meant to jitter a little bit. But at the moment it seems to be, yeah, there's the jitter again. It seems to be a bit hyperactive with the amount of jitter it's applying and the amount of screen shake. And it can be very, yeah, it gets worse if he's constantly crashing into things and turning the turret. This has been fairly stable for the most part. This is actually the most stable I've seen the turret in the tank, because it can glitch out and it starts jittering like that. Yeah, it starts jittering like that when it's just normal, like you're not being hit by anything. It seems to glitch out and just end up in this constant state as if the tank's being hit by explosives and the turret's just jittering everywhere. I don't know what this guy's doing. I might just get out soon because he's not doing anything interesting. He just seems to be driving around the map, trying to destroy all the trees for whatever reason. At least the trees are destructible, I will admit that much. Oh, the sound completely went on that shot. Right, is he driving over? Oh, he's driving backwards now. Right, I'm just gonna leave him to that. Oh, look, me, yeah, attachments all. There we go. When it's working, the attachment system is really good. It's absolutely solid. The best gun in the game I've found so far does appear to be the M5. It's absolutely amazing compared to the others. I feel like I can actually kill people with this. Oh, there's an issue. That's something as well. Sometimes you call in a vehicle, like I'm pressing X. Notice how it's not calling the vehicle. Just doesn't work sometimes, you know, because nothing works all the time in this.
Bravo sector is under US control.
And that's the general theme of the game. It's just, does it work? No, not really, but sometimes it does. Someone's trying to ghost cap this. If you're wondering if 128 players would eliminate ghost caps, it does not. So they're about to ghost cap this objective. And annoyingly, the capture area is basically around the base of the building and on top of it. And apparently,
Alpha 2 is now
yeah, he can just pop me with a magnum at that range, and yet I'm struggling with the M5. There's a lot of recoil I'm finding. I'm really not liking the gunplay. I'm incredibly good at Battlefield 5. Battlefield 1 I was pretty good at. I was really good at 4. I typically take the higher caliber rifles. I can't even move there. It's just spawned me into a firefight. Literally, it spawned me in the open in front of like 3 people with guns. And they've basically ghost capped all of C.
We have been forced out of Charlie 1.
So it's still a thing.
All of Charlie
But yeah,
sector is
the
enemy hand.
attachment system. So I'll show you some other guns as well. We'll have a look. The AK is my other favourite gun. I basically hate every other gun, but they all feel terrible to use. The AK is a unique case. There's that jittering again. Oh, there we go. The helicopters, when people actually find out how to use them, are just absolute gods of the sky and just rain down hell upon everyone and murder them all with reckless abandon, and you can't do much to stop them. When they actually get the controls up and running properly, I don't think there's anyone around me, so I'm just gonna let myself bleed out on this one. When people do actually get the control schemes in properly, I imagine that they are going to be absolutely awful to be up against. Looks like we're against that Jeep then, so he's not ours. But you'll notice, so pay attention, so I've got my gun, and the AK is uniquely bugged. Because what happens, right? Yeah, we're dead, can't really do much, they're in a vehicle, and they're behind me, so I won't get out of that. But I've done all my attachments up. A bit more screen time there for you. And my gun is now barren of all attachments. So whereas with most guns it doesn't save them between games, the AK doesn't even save it between lives. Oh, and he's doing the jump thing, God. The Feels like I'm playing COD with people jumping out at me like that while they're firing.
Alpha sector has
Not that I
fallen
could
to
see
enemy
anything
forces.
anyway. Right. But yeah, so I would use the AK, but it's bugged. I'd like to use the M5, but again, the sights are bugged. The other guns, as far as I can tell, are fine. But the SMGs on this map, really? You're not at that kind of range. You'll just get shredded. The LMG kicks like an absolute mule. The DM7 is alright, but you have to be very accurate, and most people just tear you apart with M5s at the range that this is supposed to be better at. The sniper's actually pretty good. I don't mind the sniper. The shotgun is absolute cancer in that it's just terrible. It fires skittles at people. You are not at the types of ranges that you want to use it. In fact, we'll just go in here and we'll have a look at that rocket, because that's setting off. There we go. And they're going to ruin my fun. Now, I don't want to see McKay. I want to see the damn rocket. Come on. Let me move the camera away from him. There it goes. Lots of spawns and deaths in this one, unfortunately. But yeah, it's... Unfortunately, again, it's just... A lot of the guns I'm just not really gelling with. The gunplay seems off. I've messed with the dead zones and the sensitivity. It's on PlayStation, this. If you start the game up, it gives it like 25% dead zone or something ridiculous. It doesn't even register input from the pad until you've moved your stick a quarter of the way across. It feels like it's just not working. Aim assist almost feels like it's completely turned off. Which, again, when you're using a pad, you want at least a little bit of aim assist. You don't need a strong one, but at least a little bit, so that it just gets your gun pointed in the general direction of an enemy. And seeing as there's crossplay with PC users, I imagine that if you do enable that and play against PC users, it's just the absolute worst. Not only that, but again, we're getting through most of the issues here. Another thing I was mentioning, just these characters, it really doesn't lend itself to that kind of gameplay, like having unique characters and abilities and that, because they have to be grounded within, sort of near future reality sort of thing on this game. So, they're not superheroes, and it doesn't work. And a lot of the abilities are bad. The only person who's good is Falk, because she can self-heal and she heals people to full, and she can revive anyone. Right? The others, their abilities are kind of meh. Hers is actually useful and allows you to self-heal, making her objectively the best character in the game, because she's basically the medic class on steroids. And she can then carry another gadget. So you can then carry a rocket launcher. So, of course, everyone's going to eventually figure this out, and they're all going to go in with rocket launchers and self-heals. And they'll just poke out from indestructible cover like a friggin' cargo container, blast a tank with their rocket launcher, go back, heal, reload, poke out, shoot you again. They'll just do that at range, and they'll just kill you, and you'll not be able to do much about it. There'll be a lot of doing that, and because they can use any gun with the character, like, imagine a self-healing sniper, a self-healing sniper, right? Oh, I've hit them. If it's not a headshot, they're just gonna go and self-heal. Anyway, and as you can see, I'm having to mess with the AK again because it's bugged. But I mean, the game's great. Like this moment here, where everything's just exploding, and we've got this person trying to take the helicopter out, and hang on, let me just heal myself. Let's see if we can get them up to take that out. Looks like they've been trying to use a shotgun and gone. Like, that feels distinct. That bit there feels distinctively like Battlefield. Like, I feel like I'm in Battlefield here. And as you can see, it's when most of the people on the map are all concentrated around a single objective. Suddenly it feels like Battlefield again. We can try it with a dumbfire rocket, but I don't fancy my chances. Did that just hit the... Did that blow up on the leaves just then on the tree? Jesus Christ. Like that, this feels like Battlefield, but the moments are few and far between. And that's kind of the issue that I'm finding with it. The amount of bugs and problems, and especially around the gunplay. Like, the gunplay is the very core of the game. If you're finding issues within the very core and foundations of the game, it really doesn't bode well for it, right? But again, the biggest thing is just this specialist system. I think it's an awful idea. I would much prefer character customization, and I would much, rather than this, friggin' bug-eyed sod with cap on. Looks awful. Rather than him, I'd rather create my own character in a character creator. Have cosmetics, that you can buy and just put on them. Like, sure, don't sell me specialists, because I know they're going to. Like, let me just, I mean, they've got like a whole season thing they're going to have apparently, and battle passes. Like, sure, put cosmetics in them and I can unlock them. It's fine. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Am I even in the game? Hello? Game? I don't even know. We'll try again. But yeah, it's the specialists. Like, you're playing as the Americans and the Russians. You don't feel like you're playing as them, because everyone's the same set of characters on each side. So everyone's just a clone of the same 4 characters. And yeah, there'll be more variety when it releases and all the specialists are available. But even then, it'll be the same characters on each side, and it doesn't make sense. And not only that, but again, I would much prefer if I could just go here, and I would just have... Oh great, it's not letting me select a... This is another bug as well, because again, it's all bugged. The whole thing's bugged. So sometimes it glitches out at the start of the game and it won't let you select certain things for your loadout. Like, look, I'm tapping X, I cannot select a different specialist. So we're going with McKay to start with. All the loadout presets are gone. I'll show you a different gun. We'll do a bit of... I'm going to show you the shotgun. It's terrible if it lets me choose it. I think that's chosen it. But yeah, just riddled with bugs, riddled with issues. No, we've got the AK. Okay, and we are dying immediately. It spawned me into a fight. Also, the grenades are not on a button now. The grenades, you have to equip them like a gadget and then throw them like you're playing Fallout 3. Actually terrible. God knows why they did that. A just completely balked design decision. God knows why they did it. Hey, we have something that works and is great. Let's balk it. Okay, lovely.
Enemies control
But yeah, I would much prefer to just have my own custom character that I unlock outfits for and have a character creator for. I'd much prefer that. And to just run around instead of all these specialist abilities and things, I would much prefer to just be able to choose a second piece of equipment. Like, instead of that, I could just choose to have a med kit as well as my recoilless M5, you know, or an ammo box, or some explosives and things like that, and armor plates and so on. I would much rather just be able to choose a second gadget and have a custom character than have this weird specialist system, because it puts in that system but then removes two other parts of the game, which are character customization, which they only just introduced that on Battlefield 5, and it felt like a landmark moment, like we were finally going to get like these RPG character customization mechanics that have been just missed for so long in Battlefield, a complete missed opportunity for so long. We finally got something along those lines, and they've immediately removed it, and it's awful. I hate it. And moreover, then you can't tell who's on whose side. You don't know. The spotting system's been long gone now, so you can't even like tap the spot button to mark them as an enemy. It just doesn't work. I hate how the spotting system's been gone since Battlefield 5. It worked fine. I get that people were a bit annoyed that it were maybe a bit too easy to spot people and you were just shooting at the little arrows that marked them out, but I think it was a good representation of something that in the real world they would be doing. Soldiers would be telling each other and communicating with each other. You know, I liked the spotting system and how it worked, and it was a good way of kind of adapting that sort of communication that would be there in real life into a game. I would settle for a middle ground, to be fair. If maybe... Oh, we couldn't spawn them in time. They're in combat now, apparently. No vehicles available apart from transports. Maybe we can go on B1 and parachute down to D2 and move from there. So, yeah, and I'd much prefer a customization system, and I would much prefer, yeah, I'd much prefer that, to be fair. Ooh, we are struggling down here. It's like, it's one step forward and two steps back, literally. Okay, cool, new specialist system with characters and all that crap. Ooh. This is absolutely not aiming where I'm shooting it. If you're wondering, by the way, when I did the attachments at the start, we've loaded slugs. So they should have some range to them. And they just... Again, it's... Yeah. Well, like I said, I would much prefer a customization system and just let me pick two gadgets. Because I can't tell who's on whose side. I don't like these characters. I don't... You know, I'm not getting behind them and, ooh, this is my favourite and all this, like I would with other games. I would much just prefer to just have my own and have outfits that are faction specific, so I can tell the difference between me and the people I'm meant to shoot, because it's annoying otherwise. It has positives. There's not many, because again, every aspect of the game is balked in some way at the moment. It's just broken and messy. I know that, I hope most of this will be fixed for launch, But it really is, every single aspect of it is broken at the moment. It's an absolute goddamn mess. And it's full of visual bugs as well. But one of the things that they have done right, which I will admit is really good. So look at the shotgun. So let's just show this off for a moment. Let's put iron sights, put that. There we go, it's a close quarters shotgun. Better still, I can press the toggle fire mode button and it toggles the flashlight instead now. Very nice. Oh, I'm not in a tunnel or something anymore. I need something with range to it. You know, I've just took the objective that's all close quarters. Boom. Red dot sight. I imagine at launch they'll probably have other sights available. I might be able to get an ACOG on this. But we've now got slugs and a grip. So this should be more like a sort of mid-range DMR it should play like now. Fingers crossed. But again with the... Oh, is it stopping there? There we go.
They've captured all of Alpha Sector.
And someone just walks up. I couldn't even hear him till on top of me then and just guns me down. But that kind of shows you the use case scenario of that modding system for the weapons. That's probably the most relevant situation I would find for it. But again, it's... I mean, this is Battlefield, and we've not seen the tornado. We've not seen any major destruction. We haven't even seen the rocket explode yet. And most of the buildings you can't even destroy very much, and you certainly can't fully destroy any of them. So the destruction's practically gone. It might just be this map, but it's awkward and it's hard to say that I like this. And another system, another couple of systems that have just been removed. The fortification system of 5, which seemed like the answer to them always having this cop-out excuse of, oh, we can't have all this destruction though, because then the map would be massive and open, even though they've made a massive open map here with barely any cover. But no, they can't have massive open maps with no cover. It'd mess with the balancing. But the fortification system where you could put sandbags and things everywhere seemed like the perfect solution to that. Like, just rebuild entire buildings out like rubble barricades and things and sandbags. That would be amazing. You know, and just go around and rebuild structures and defences and get points for doing so would be cool. And better still, you'd be able to blow up buildings and then still use them as defences, bolstering up the sides of the buildings facing towards enemy objectives so that it gave you an advantage. It had some good tactical potential. It was horribly underutilised, and I expected it to be expanded in this, and instead it's been removed. And moreover, the vehicles now will be generating health, and also vehicles regenerate health, but they need it though, because now everyone can carry a rocket launcher regardless of their other ability and regardless of weapon type. It used to be that you'd carry the rocket launcher back in 4, but you'd only have a limited choice of weapons and equipment for that character then. The engineer had worse guns for most of the map types. They would typically be like shotguns and SMGs and things, but they had explosive launchers which made them very powerful, so they had not the best weapons to compensate. But then they kind of balked the class system in the previous one, where they gave like the assault like self-reviving superpowers and the ability to carry like 3 different anti-tank weapons and God knows what else. Because you don't have to be, you can revive squad members now, so an assault could go in with a bunch of launchers and self-revive and revive their own teammates. But I'm running out of time because the PlayStation cuts off recording in 60 minutes, which means I've got about 20 seconds left. Overall, if they fix all the bugs, it will be fine, but if not, this is warning signs. It's like an air raid siren as to whether or not to buy the game. It's a huge red flag for me, this. I love Battlefield to bits, but the issues that are around this and the amount of bugs make it nearly unfair.